Call this meeting to order of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Our first order of business will be minutes from our July 21st meetings. I think we'll take a motion to approve them both unless somebody has any changes to one or the other.
Motion to approve as published.
All right, is there a second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. All right. This is a meeting of the Planning and Zoning to address two requests for variances. First from, I apologize, can somebody please pronounce his name for me?
It's Dan Jolich.
Thank you. I apologize.
How did you know?
I'm married to the man, so I'm
All right, I apologize for that. You're making a variance request to install a carport on the right of way, or not the right of way, but on the setback. And I will give you the floor to start, and you can tell us what you're doing and why.
Sure. Right now, we don't have protection for our vehicles, so we're looking to make an extension. And so there's a rendering that my 16-year-old son did for us, and that's on the right side. So with that extension, my husband's also a motorcycle rider, and he would like some protection from the elements, including, you know, hailstorm or other bad elements.
Okay. And what you're doing is going right out to the edge of the setback, as I understand it.
It's going to where the lamp post is, the existing lamp post.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us about it?
No, I think he provided this picture and maybe another one as well.
Yes, he did. Do we need to see?
I think there's there may be another rendering as well as a photo of the way the house is.
Rendering of the site plan there.
There's a frontal right there of what it would look like standing at the road. And then I think the first photo shared, I believe, was the house.
Prior to it.
Yeah, right there, right there. That's essentially where it would go right now.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Are there any citizens in the audience that want to comment one way or the other regarding this particular variance request? Nobody. All right. Next order of business is to hear from city staff. Either Jason or Jim, either of you.
Mr. Chairman, we have not received, to my knowledge, any comments, questions, or anything about this, but essentially what the applicant just said is they're looking to do this. Jim Piver, our code enforcement building inspector, and I went out there 2 or 3 times, looked at it. The orientation of the house, the orientation of other houses that are close to the road, and really the way it would sit, I think that rendering, Jim and I looked at it, even though it does seem fairly extreme as far as what the request is, and where it's going to sit in relation to anything that the city may be doing as far as road pavement improvements, et cetera. I know Mr. Shope looked at it, he didn't see any issues there. It's already existing concrete paving that's there, but you know, so it's kind of we didn't really see any issues with it. So, but you know, it's this board and council. But anyway, that's, other than that, what they're asking for from that rendering, I think that gives the best example of what it's gonna look like.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Certainly.
In addition to what Jason said, as far as Public Works not having any issues with it, as you can see, even from the rendering, visibility wise, there's not going to be any issues. I mean, it's still set back enough to where you can't quite see the edge of the road there. And in relation to the house next door to it that you can see in the background, it's, my understanding, from the applicant, that the neighbors don't have any problems, and as Jason mentioned, we didn't receive any feedback at all, since the postings have gone up. So it's, it speaks for itself as far as what you're looking at.
I believe there's 50 feet of right of way on that road, so 25 foot off center. The road, the carway itself, the paved part is not very wide, so there's probably another 15 feet. Like you can't even see from that photo, you can't even see the edge of the road. So there's probably another 15 feet from, before you even get to the actual road itself. So that was another thing we took into consideration when we were looking at it. As you can see, you can't even see the road, the edge of the road from that vantage point.
Okay. Committee members. Questions, comments?
If we were required to widen that road at some point in the future, would this addition cause a problem with that?
I don't think so. Again, there's width, the road width, the work width, we could go wider. There should not be any, obviously, since it's on their property, there should not be any utilities that we have to worry about. And that section of the city is pretty built out, so it's, I think there may be a couple of vacant lots close by, but we don't anticipate any interference points as far as anything that we may need to do in the future.
And one more question is the access to that carport from the street, is it going to require a new entryway or nothing like that?
No, sure. If I could speak on the applicant's behalf, yeah, what did you see there? I mean, pretty much all that concrete area, that's just, it's pretty seamless. It pretty much abuts the edge of the road, and they just they're pretty much parking in the right of way now. That area that you see, that's their parking area. And she said, I know we met with Dan a couple times, they're motorcycle enthusiasts, and obviously I don't think we would park a car there, but sounds like he's very protective of his motorcycles and stuff. That was, the small scaleness of it also is something that we kind of looked at as far as we were trying to make a determination also.
Okay. Anybody else? I think my real problem with it is precedent. We proved this. What happens on the next one? And where does it stop? I agree, this one doesn't seem intrusive, it doesn't seem to be blocking any vision or anything, but again, where do you stop? Is this going to prevent us from disapproving another one?
I don't think so. I think you can take them one at a time, and of course, there is something about precedent that you have to consider, but I think you can take them one at a time.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything? Everybody's uncharacteristically quiet. All right, since everybody has spoken and asked all the questions they want, I'll call the question. Does somebody have a recommendation for the city council?
Make a motion, we approve.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, this will still have to go to the city council. We are nothing but an advisory committee here, but in that meeting, I know it was postponed to the 21st. So please don't start anything prior to that. All right, moving on. Next applicant is David Ramey.
I'm David Rainey. I'm a general contractor and a professional engineer, working out of the state of Georgia, and currently building a custom home for Chris and Lisa Jacobson up on Ridgepole. Knowing that the requirements are a new survey in the name of the client. During the initial onset, I was gonna call out the surveyor, but I found the corner pins, the original corner pins, and pulled a string and went 17, not the 15, but 17 feet off the right-hand corner as you face the house, and then shifted further down the hill accordingly. The problem with that logic was I failed to consider, I had the plat in my hand, but I just failed to consider that third pin. And so when I did that, it caused everything to be 2 feet, 2.78 feet to 2 feet buried inboard. We got the foundation walls up. And started construction of the house. And once I got the deck established, I called the surveyor to do the new survey in the client's name and also pin the house. And at that time, that's when I realized that I had made that error. And I came in and told the city at that time that there was a variance request forthcoming. And so now here we are.
So it's not just the steps that I'm seeing in red there that are gonna be.
Right, I don't have to have this can be, but it's, the actual setback is this black line right here, which is 2.01 to 2.78 feet inside, well on the client's, property, but 2.7 feet inside the setback boundary. And then, while I was asking, I figured that we would go ahead and discuss the stoop as well. No need to ask twice or work around when you're having to stand before people anyway. So 3 foot would work, but, we're asking for 6 feet just so that we can get just so we can check the box.
Okay. All right. Again, any citizens, one way or the other? Yes, sir.
I'm the neighbor to the right of the new house, and we have no problem with them going this way.
Okay, thank you.
What is your name, sir?
I'm Gary Waldrich. We actually have had property up here since 2016.
Anybody else? Staff?
Mr. Chairman, as Mr. Ramey said, he reached out to myself, Mr. Piper, we went and looked at it. We realized there was an issue. We did issue a stop work order. We allowed them to pretty much kind of stabilize the site, dry it in a little bit, but they have not. It's been pretty much in a stalemate since that time. There are other houses that within the vicinity of this request that do appear to be too close as well. So I do know this is going to be a custom home. The topography of the property kind of pushes the house up to the road anyway. And talking with Mr. Shope, our Public Works Director, there should be no issue of conflict with in the future paving right of way, snow plowing, etc. So that's why we recommend approval.
The point of fact, the angled line I'm seeing come off the corner of the house there on the right, that is a retaining wall, correct?
That's correct. It is.
So that's already in the.
We were aware of that. Mr. Shope looked at that just to make sure, but it should not cause any conflict. Ridgepole is a road that we are trying to prioritize for some paving work next year. And we don't envision, I think there's also 50 feet of right of way. As you can see, the road itself where it says the RIDG, that's the width of the road. So you have some feet to work with if we ever needed to expand. But, that's another area of the city that's pretty built out. So we don't anticipate anything that could cause a problem, at least at this time.
Okay, Jim?
I concur with the city manager's comments. In addition, I actually live within probably less than 100 yards from there. And I personally don't have a problem with it. I mean, the house is visible from my house. So I mean, we're talking future neighbors, so I have no problem.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Committee members, questions, comments?
Mr. Rainey, you mentioned something about 6 feet, and I'm not sure what you were referring to.
6 feet is a requested variance
Okay.
reduction from 15 feet to 9 feet.
Okay. And so the stoop will go where?
Yes.
Will go where you have the red.
Yes, this red line and then the stairs, we haven't really decided which way to go, but the stairs will not come this way, they will go in the same line.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I'm concerned, Mr. Rainey, that you're a professional engineer and a professional contractor. I know you've done a lot of work in the Sakai Valley as well, some other buildings, but I'm a little concerned that, I know this was an error, but I'm a little concerned that, you missed this,
Yeah, me too.
and it's your fault.
I'm not here to blame anybody else. This is not technical, this is not clerical, this is not paperwork, this is a human error. There would have been no additional cost. Mr. Street, Jason's correct. It does dictate that it be up close because it is steep. And it is hard to get down to, but moving this thing 2.78 feet down the hill wouldn't have cost a dime. This is 100% hat in hand human error.
Yeah, I understand. And what, based on what the city manager and Jim said, I don't have any objection to it.
To your point, I'm good. I didn't like the fact that I'd done that either.
Well, there'll be consequences to this error. You'll have to do some duties for the city. Maybe clean pavilion
How about if I-
bathrooms or something.
How about if I build a hay bale rendition of the ski lodge?
I believe that's been done.
It might be. It's done by me.
It's wonderful.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
Tony, Bill,
I just like the fact that we're here to help people accomplish things rather than trying to be an impediment to that progress. And, so I'm willing to accept it.
Yeah.
okay.
We're not going to beat him, right?
All right, I'll call the question.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Welcome, Scott.
Oh, we've been here since 2007.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Well,
We
welcome to
owned a home on
Ridgeville.
Buttermilk Circle that we renovated. Probably, we were told one of the first homes here, at least,
It was Dieter Bear's. old
Dieter Bear's
house.
old house.
Oh,
We renovated, we sold it, and, the owners were gracious enough to let us rent back. But we are homeless coming up in the spring, so we do need to get this.
so you would like this done, I take it?
Yes, unless someone has a house.
Maybe
Fair
you
enough,
could
that kind of
come out
enough.
with
Yeah,
Mr. Rainey.
Yeah, we couldn't shrink ourselves.
Or you could live with Mr. Rainey.
There you go.
Ouch. I thought you said you weren't.
She told you that.
Oh, so we appreciate it.
All right, there is nothing else before this committee. So I will enter motion to adjourn.
I would make that motion. There would be no further business to conduct it. We just go ahead and adjourn this meeting.
Well, thank you, sir. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay,
Meeting is adjourned.
thank y'all for coming.
I know